A couple of years back, just before Elaine left the MVP, or just about when she was about to leave the MVP and Stephen Francis, I made a couple of videos pointing out that move by Elaine could very well backfire. Of course, I came under heavy chastisement from the fans of Elaine Thompson Herah who were emotionally attached to Elaine and her decisions and all of that. But recently, I saw a couple of comments popped up in my notification. There were some viewers who, for whatever reason, went back and watched those videos, and they came back and saying that your statement that you had pitched about this whole incident is indeed correct and people should come back and review those videos. Now, this is 2024 and we have all seen what has unfolded with the career of Elaine Thompson Herah since that transition from the MVP until this point in time, and all of us have to agree that it's pretty dismal. Things are not looking good for Elaine Thompson Herah any at all. It's just been all downhill. I think there's just one period of time where we could say that things were looking up, and that's when she was at Shaniki Osborne. Again, we would have seen where Elaine Thompson Herah left Shaniki Osborne because of some issues that they were having, and we all know it was some monetary issues, and her husband would not have it. Now, in all of this, I've arrived at this point that Elaine is not the one to be blamed in this. Of course, it is her career, it is her body, and the final thing will eventually affect her the most. But in all of this, her handlers, I would say those that manage her finances, her affairs, and all of that, did her a great injustice in coaching her or getting her in that mind frame that she needed to leave Stephen Francis. When you put all the information that we have about this situation, the picture is clear that most times Elaine is not the one calling the shots in this. Now, referring back to one of Stephen Francis's interview, Stephen Francis said that he never had any problems with Elaine Thompson. In fact, he said Elaine Thompson was one of the best athletes that he has ever coached, and she was one who would listen, one who would work with him, one who you could consider to be easily led. No, maybe that's just where her downfall came, because not just Coach Stephen Francis was able to lead her in the direction that he think was right, but other outside factors would have used that same weakness to lead Elaine to make the wrong decisions. Stephen Francis pointed out that when Elaine was at the MVP, she was alright, but the problem came soon after she got attached to a certain person, and if you know who that person is. He said that that's when the problem started. He had all the problems in the world, and of course when Elaine made it big on the Olympic stage and the big bucks started coming in, that person maybe thought it was too much money to be given to Stephen Francis, but they never really looked through the situation clearly to understand that Stephen was doing an excellent job with Elaine Thompson Herah. The saying goes that if it's not broken, why do you fix it? Stephen had everything down, the program. He knew what is best for her, what is not, and he was able to get her to certain heights in track and field even when she was still injured. In that 2020 Tokyo Olympic game, Elaine Thompson, if you can recall, she did not perform well at the national trials. She was beaten by both Shelly Fraser-Price and Shericka Jackson. But when the Olympic came, you would have seen Stephen doing what he does best, and he was able to bring Elaine through the rounds. And when it came to the finals, we saw a Elaine Thompson Herah that no one saw before. She was able to smash that Olympic record, running one of her fastest times to date. That is what those persons who are handling Elaine was ignoring. They were ignoring that there's this chemistry between Stephen and Elaine and the team that was managing her physically and otherwise, the whole training team, the physio, and all of those persons. They were a total package that was suited for Elaine Thompson Herah. Now, to further confirm what I'm saying, let me just drag your mind back to 2023. When Elaine was at Shaniki Osborne, we saw an Elaine that looked like she was going back to herself. Now, right after that, all hell broke loose. The headlines came out that Elaine parted ways also with this new coach. When push came to shove, what we heard was that the money that was involved became a big problem. And again, Elaine was not the culprit in this situation, because when you listen to the coach, Elaine had initially agreed to the amount that the coach wanted. But as soon as a third party, her handler, her manager, and her husband came into the mix, everything broke down. And here we are again with Elaine Thompson Herah back at square one at Ronaldo Walcott, who doesn't seem to understand Elaine's body as much. I personally don't think that Elaine is fitting well right now in Walcott's program. I could be proven wrong, but that's just how I feel. From the moment she came out, I just don't think that it was the right fit. And here she's back at the place where she's injured, she's out of competition, and she's not able to run. And it's probably the worst we have seen, because I can't really recall seeing her having to pull from an entire competition without even running. If I'm wrong, you can just jog my memory. But I'm saying that in all of this, those who are handling the affairs of Elaine, they are doing her a grave injustice. They are doing it wrong. They are getting it wrong. And I hope that before it is too late, they can see that they have gotten it wrong. Now, if it even requires them apologizing even off the air, it would be good. But it's time for them to get things right with Elaine Thompson Herah, because time is against her. Time is rapidly moving away from her. So I think they should do the right thing. Probably send her back to Osborne if they don't want to go back to Stephen. Or better yet, send her to Stephen. But I'm not blaming Elaine for this. Maybe she has a tiny part to play. But those who are advising her, they are getting it really wrong. And she's paying for it dearly. And it's a pain to see Elaine in this condition. It's really, really heartrending, knowing that she so badly wants to perform well again. Elaine, like everyone, wants to be at the top of the game, be at the Olympics, be at the World Championships, and not just being there, but to make an impact like she's very well capable of doing. But until the handlers realize that they're doing it wrong, then it's still trouble in the camp. We hope that Elaine can jump back into the game pretty soon and start winning again. We really hope that it's not too late, because honestly, with what we're seeing right now, there's a possibility that it's too late for her. Her best years are probably ahead of her, but we're just hoping that's not the case, because we know Elaine had so much more to offer. But unfortunately, because of these changes and these unfortunate situations, we have not been able to see that. But as the Jamaican saying goes, one are dead, no dash way.